The amount of times that you use exosomes depends on you. If you're using it for an injury, for example, you have a shoulder injury, torn tissues, damaged tissues, your knees, you may not need it more than once. So why do I keep having it? I have exosomes probably every 6 months because of the results that I'm getting from these exosomes for anti-aging. So let's go through a few things. Number one, how many times have I done exosome stem cells? I would say probably about 7 times now, which is a lot. The results are also incredible. It has incredibly impacted my sleep patterns. So one of the biggest anti-aging metrics is your heart rate variability, HRV. And you can usually use this if you have an Apple phone or Android. You can look up your health metrics and it will show you what is your HRV. Typically, you should be around 40 mark, okay? If you're at 40, you're doing fine. And let me explain what HRV means. So picture your grandparent, okay, walking up the stairs. They get all the way up the stairs and they're huffing and puffing. They're trying to catch their breath and so forth. That's because their heart is unable to adapt, okay? So it is the variability between each beat, how it can adapt to it. Now you have a child that runs like crazy and they're winded and they're back at it again, okay? Their heart is able to adapt back to it. So this is super, super important because if your heart is not able to adapt, if the HRV is not at a certain level, that's a big sign of aging, okay? 40 is where you typically want to be. If you're at 80, you are Olympic level. So this is different than other things like cholesterol and so forth. You want to get them lower. HRV, you want to get them higher. When I first started having exosomes, I started noticing my HRV started spiking above 40, 50, 60. And so I started going to this place of how high can I get that? Like what can I do to improve my sleep? Which, by the way, sleep is one of the biggest things for anti-aging besides muscle and tissue and so forth, right? Like improve strength training so that your muscles are there. But sleep is arguably one of the biggest things. It removes neurotoxins. It allows for all functionality in your body to continue to work. If you want to prevent dementia, Alzheimer's, all that stuff, you've got to make sure you're getting a minimum. When I say minimum, like bare minimum of 6 to 7 hours of sleep. You have to. So I focus heavily on sleep. I use multiple devices. I use the Whoop device. I use Sleep Aid. I use Sleep Number. All these things measure the metrics of my sleep. That way I can tell if there's something off. After having exosomes, my number wasn't 40, it wasn't 60, it wasn't 80. It's right around the 120 to 130 mark, which may not sound like anything, but it is extremely impressive how that impacts me. For example, if I go to Orange Theory, and I bring up Orange Theory because of the metrics that they provide you with your heart rate, I can go and really push on the treadmill, flood my heart rate, take it up to 180, 190, and I can slow it down. And so it allows for my heart rate to adapt. That is a key metric for aging. So I've done exosomes so many times because I want to be able to improve organ function. I want to be able to make sure that, for example, like my knees and my shoulders, if injecting my mom's knees when she was bone on bone helped her to get back, then why don't I inject my own knees and my own shoulder when they're at 70 or 80%? Why, oftentimes people wait until they get sick or something happens for them to find a way to become healthy. Usually people who are naturally healthy, and I'm talking about people who aren't working out, taking supplements and so forth, they're not looking at ways to stay healthy. It's only when something goes wrong that triggers, hey, I probably need to. Well, I've changed my mindset. And the goal is I want everything to get to that 100%. So I have my knees injected with exosomes. I have my shoulders injected with exosomes. It allows me to function better and it prevents me from waiting until something goes off, right? So preventative maintenance, look at it like that. You're not gonna wait for an oil change until your car is broken down on the side of the road, right? You have all these markers that go off, all these signals in the car with the yellow triangles and so forth of low air pressure and so forth. We have that with our body, but we ignore it. If we have a headache, you may go ahead and have a coffee. First, before you go ahead and have a coffee, try to figure out why is your head hurting. If you're tired all the time, why are you tired? If you're feeling cold, okay, what's your iron levels at? Your body is perpetually talking to you, but if you're finding ways to silence it, that's where the issue is. So with exosomes, I'm doing the preventative maintenance, okay? washing the car, giving it fuel, oil change, like all of those things I'm doing so the car never has to be broken down on the side of the road. Because oftentimes once it's broken down, it's difficult to try and get it back from there. So how many times should someone get exosomes? If it's for an injury, just get the exosomes for that treatment. If it's for anti-aging or to benefit any of these things that I just explained, doing it once a year, you'll be able to revert back a lot of the damage that you've done to the body. Remember, none of us are perfect. So during my college years, God, I don't know how much damage I did to my body, you know? I was definitely sleeping less than 6 hours a day. I was out with my friends, like eating junk food, not exercising, all those things. It's like, the good thing with it is that my natural stem cells and exosomes within my body in my teens was fighting, right? To make sure that it repaired as much as possible. But now's our chance to kind of say thank you to our body and say, hey, I'm going to provide you with the exosomes. Thank you for getting me through all of this stuff. Let's try to help fix all of the things that needed fixing. And also, it's just like everything else, change my lifestyle, working out, eating healthy, and doing the things that I need. So once a year is plenty enough to be able to maintain a healthy life.